He could walk on water. He could levitate over buildings. He could escape from traps that should have been impossible. For years, Criss Angel was untouchable, the rock star of magic who blurred the line between illusion and the supernatural. His show, Mindfreak, wasn't just entertainment. It was a phenomenon. Millions watched, jaws dropped, hearts racing, and then he disappeared. No grand finale, no farewell tour, just silence. The headlines stopped, the stunts ended, and the man who once dominated Las Vegas simply vanished from the spotlight. What really happened to Criss Angel? Was it burnout, scandal, or something far darker hidden beneath the theatrics and smoke? As the cheers faded and the lights dimmed, a different kind of story began, one filled with pain, mystery, and revelations no one expected. This is why you don't see Criss Angel anymore. Before he became Criss Angel the illusionist who walked on water and levitated above the Luxor, he was Christopher Nicholas Sarin, a quiet Greek-American kid from East Meadow, New York, with an imagination far bigger than his world. Born on December 19, 1967, the middle of three sons to John and Demetrius Sarantakos, Criss grew up surrounded by love, discipline, and the smell of his father's donut shop. John worked long hours but never missed a chance to be there for his family. That balance between hard work and heart shaped his son in ways that would last a lifetime. At 6 years old, everything changed when his Aunt Stella showed him a simple card trick. Curiosity became obsession. By 7, he was performing living room shows with makeshift props and fierce determination. While other kids played outside, Criss spent hours mastering sleight of hand, studying magic books, and rehearsing escapes until his fingers cramped. At 12, he earned his first $10 performing at a birthday party, a small moment that lit the fuse of destiny. From diners to nightclubs, he took every stage he could find, winning over audiences with intensity and mystery. Slowly, the boy from East Meadow became Criss Angel, the mindfreak who made the impossible look real. Just as his career began rising, tragedy struck. Criss's father, his biggest supporter, was diagnosed with stomach cancer and given only weeks to live. But John fought for more than 3 years. Criss stayed by his side through every painful moment. He believed deeply that the mind ruled the body, often saying, "The body is a slave to the mind." Watching his father battle for life became the defining experience of his own. In 1998, holding his father's hand as he took his last breath, Criss changed forever. "When my father died in my arms," he later said, "it had such a profound effect on me that I knew I had to confront my own fears." From that moment on, he pushed every boundary, physically, mentally, spiritually. To conquer his fear of pain, he performed stunts that defied belief, even suspending himself from a helicopter by fishhooks through his skin. For Criss, every stunt became a tribute. Each dangerous act was driven not by ego, but by grief transformed into purpose. He wasn't performing to impress, he was on a mission to show that pain could become power, and that the impossible could be real. In his book, Mindfreak, Secret Revelations, he calls his father the glue that held our family together. Every illusion, every escape, every breathtaking feat carried that love. Beneath the rock star persona, the leather, the eye, the fire was still the determined boy from East Meadow trying to heal through art. His greatest reward, he often said, was seeing people feel inspired after his performances, believing they too could face their fears. For him, that was the real magic: courage, transformation, and hope. Criss Angel's rise wasn't easy. From age 6 onward, he poured everything into his craft, facing years of rejection, financial struggle, and nights performing in tiny venues no one remembers. He worked multiple jobs just to survive, but quitting was never an option. "My so-called overnight success actually took 15 years, he once said. "Back then, my only car was my mom's Hyundai." His humility reflected the grit that defined him. Inspired by Houdini, Criss refused to imitate anyone. "I stayed away from magicians because I didn't want to think like them," he said. "I wanted to create my own style." And he did. By blending magic with rock music, storytelling, and real danger, he turned every show into an adrenaline-fueled spectacle. He didn't just perform tricks, he changed what magic could be. In 1995, he formed a band called Angel Dust, fusing heavy metal with illusion. Their debut album dropped in 1998. "For me, music and magic weren't separate," he said. "They were two sides of the same creative fire." By his early 20s, he'd moved to New York City, performing nonstop in clubs, theaters, and private events until his name started spreading. By the mid-1990s, he was on stage at Madison Square Garden, performing up to 60 shows a day at the World of Illusion Conference, a testament to his stamina and obsession with perfection. Through every step, his family was his anchor. His mother, Demetra, rarely missed a show and helped manage his growing career. "My mom was there for every show, every setback, every success," he said. That unwavering support gave him strength. Criss Angel's rise was built on grit, innovation, and a fearless belief in the impossible. When Mindfreak premiered on July 20, 2005, it wasn't just another magic show, it was a revolution. Criss turned illusion into high-voltage spectacle, mixing danger, rock energy, and psychological intensity in a way television had never seen. He didn't want to simply entertain. He wanted to shock, to make people question reality itself. The show combined street magic with massive, death-defying stunts, hanging from helicopters by hooks, levitating between skyscrapers, walking on water. Every episode felt like a concert of fear and fascination. By then, Criss was already known as a daring innovator. His blend of classic illusion, heavy metal style, and emotional storytelling caught the attention of A&E, which gave him a platform to unleash Season 1 delivered 15 adrenaline-charged episodes that shattered expectations. One of the most jaw-dropping moments was when he hung from a helicopter by hooks, pierced through his skin, horrifying and mesmerizing all at once. His levitation between two buildings became an instant global sensation. S. Mindfreak continued. Criss pushed even further, walking on water, lying on broken glass as a steamroller rolled over him, escaping from a cement block underwater. Beyond the shock and spectacle, the show was celebrated for its creativity, cinematic style, and Criss's commanding presence. He wasn't just a magician, he was a rock star and a daredevil. But the cost was real. Years of brutal stunts left his body battered and exhausted. The toll wasn't only physical. Inside the magic community, purists criticized him for prioritizing spectacle over traditional artistry. But Criss never flinched. He believed magic had to evolve, and by all metrics, he succeeded. Over 6 seasons and 96 episodes, Mindfreak captivated millions, won awards, and became a global phenomenon. For fans, it wasn't just a show, it was an emotional thrill ride, led by a man unafraid to risk everything. After 6 groundbreaking seasons, Mindfreak ended in 2010, not because of cancellation or controversy, but because Criss chose to step away. After years of pushing himself to the brink, he knew it was time to reinvent. He set his sights on an even bigger challenge, Las Vegas. His next project, Believe, launched with Cirque du Soleil at the Luxor. The idea was bold, a fusion of Criss's intense illusions with Cirque's acrobatics and theatrical artistry. On paper, it was unstoppable. But when it premiered in 2008, the response was rough. Critics panned it, audiences were confused. But Criss Angel didn't quit. He took back creative control and rebuilt the show from scratch.